Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bjorn Ranheim, and I'm the music director of the World Chess Hall of Fame. We're so happy that you can join us this evening for our virtual performance of Beethoven's pivotal Opus 131 string quartet. Before we get there, I want to thank, of course, our incredible benefactors, Dr. Jeannie and Rex Singfield, for making all of this possible. So thank you to them. We have a lot of wonderful offerings that are continuing to go on here at the World Chess Hall of Fame, wonderful exhibitions that are open to the public. But our concert series will continue next month. This concert series, the Composer Series, will be featuring Beethoven's Opus 135 string quartet on October 20th at 7 p.m. So we hope that you'll join us for our continuation of the celebration of Beethoven's 250th birthday. Our other concert series continues next week on Wednesday, the 23rd of September, with the 442s, which is a combination of symphony musicians and jazz musicians playing completely original music. And so we'll hope that you can join us for the live stream as well at 7 o'clock for that. This piece is really one of the most profound musical statements in all of culture. It is beloved worldwide. It is kind of holds a hallowed place in the echelon of all music, but especially of the string quartet repertoire. Ludwig van Beethoven finished his life by composing 6 string quartets. They are considered his late quartets. They were pretty much his farewell to the music world. You know, Beethoven was completely deaf at the point that he wrote these works. So in his head and through his pen, we can have a glimpse into the tumult, into the passion, into the true beauty that really transcends words, and is a wonderful vehicle for us to see into the mind of such a pivotal figure in our musical world. Now, when he wrote these works, they were not necessarily understood by the audiences of his day. They were incredibly forward-thinking. This was not the same conventions that had happened for many, many years before. This is completely new territory. In fact, after hearing one of the performances of the late quartets, an audience member was heard to have said, "We know there is something there, we just don't know what it is." There were some circles that viewed these pieces negatively when they came out. The composer Louis Spohr commented that they were indecipherable and uncorrected horrors, which seems a little harsh. And in fact, there was, of course, a counterpoint to that. The famous Robert Schumann was quoted to have said, "The grandeur of which no words can express. They seem to me to stand upon the extreme boundaries of all that has hitherto been attained by human art and imagination." Pretty glowing words about a work that really wrote the book in an entirely new way. This was the second to last work that Beethoven wrote. He completed it in 1826, which is just 1 year before his death. And sadly, he did not witness a public performance of it during his lifetime. It was not premiered until 5 years later. But it was played 2 years after he completed it. In fact, it was performed on the deathbed of Schubert. Franz Schubert was a huge lover of Beethoven's music, and he requested that this work be performed for him. And it was just 5 days before he passed away. And he heard this work and he said, "After this, what is left for us to write?" This work is monumental, not only in its stature, but also in its untraditional form. It totally turned on its head the traditional 4-movement standard kind of foundation that string quartet music had been laid upon. This piece has 7 movements, and they are all played without stopping between. They are all played attacca, which is a musical term that means flowing directly from one end to the other. So what that creates is a sound world that takes us on quite a magical journey through time and space, through every possible emotion and idea of feeling. And again, it really gives us a glimpse into the wonderful, complex, tortured, loving mind of this composer. So what we thought we would do tonight to help give you some roadmap for this piece, it runs around 45 minutes long in total performance length. But we thought we would give you a few examples from the piece so that you can help to kind of follow along and know where we are in that unending movement of music. So we're going to start and we're going to play a few examples from some of the movements here for you now. The first movement starts incredibly starkly. It's very intense and it's a poignant fugue. In fact, Richard Wagner reflected on the opening movement of this piece, and he said, reveals the most melancholy sentiment represented in music. This same theme is going to come back in various guises in every movement of this piece, as well as the final 3 string quartets that Beethoven wrote. It builds tension in an upwards interval, and then it releases that tension downwards to continue propelling the music forward. Following this very somber fugue comes a complete turnaround. We are met in the second movement by a folk-like dance that has an easy spirit and maniacal changes of dynamic markings that really change in the blink of an eye. The third movement of the piece is incredibly short. It's about 11 measures long, so if you blink, you may miss it. But it really acts more as a bridge from that folk-like movement to one of the major sections of the piece, the fourth movement. The fourth movement is a traditional theme and variation type of movement, which was very common for composers to explore. But in this, we get an idea of the playfulness and the imaginative nature of Beethoven. And we're going to play for you 4 different examples just to show you how he takes this simple theme from the beginning and how he changes that throughout the entire movement. There we go. All right, so as you can hear in that movement, Beethoven is so playful in the way that he reimagines that theme. And there are many, many beautiful variations throughout that fourth movement. The fifth movement is truly Beethoven at his most joyous and happy. This is a presto movement, a very quick movement that is fast and impishly difficult. There are themes that alternate back and forth, much like his symphonies. He loves playing with this juxtaposition of different themes, kind of back and forth. And so this is a fun movement for us. We'll play the very, very beginning of it to give you a glimpse. So after that movement, we get to a beautiful slow movement. Again, it's a bridge between what you just heard and the very tumultuous final movement of this work. But it is not insignificant. This sixth movement of the work is so beautiful, and it harkens back to a Baroque style, almost like J.S. Bach would have written. It really sets up in a very calm way the surprise that we are brought to in the beginning of the seventh movement. The seventh movement is incredibly boisterous, and it's very gregarious and kind of cocky theme in the first violin. And this too, Beethoven takes and then contrasts so beautifully with a second theme that is very tender and loving. And it really is such a testament to his compositional skill that he can show us so many different sides of himself. So what we're going to do now is we're going to play you an example from the sixth movement, the Baroque sounding movement, and then we'll go directly into two different themes from the finale that will help to give you a sense of the final movement of the work. And in true Beethovenian fashion, this entire piece ends full of confidence and very strident fashion. And it really leaves us, just again, in awe of such a wonderful work. For us, it is a joy to be able to play this work. Anytime you have the ability to play with such wonderful colleagues in really exploring a piece like this is a true joy. But especially during these trying times that we find ourselves in, the act of performing and making music is something that speaks so much from our hearts, and so we hope that you'll feel that as well. This work was really one of Beethoven's favorites. He said so. He said that in it he found a new matter of part writing, and thank God, less lack of imagination as before. Ever self-deprecating. What it truly leaves us with, though, is a work for the ages, a true masterpiece, and a joy for us to play. So we hope that you'll enjoy Beethoven's Opus 131 String Quartet. Thank you.